Hello everyone, Phoenix61 here with some Legends Halloween event strategery gameplay for hard and insane mode for this thing. So, yes, hard mode is hard, and insane mode is insanely hard. So, I am using the Battleship. I'll go through the build and, how to set up the commander, at least, my preference here. And this, we end up, spoiler alert, we end up losing this one at the end here, and I'm trying to get through, I'm trying to get an insane win just myself, right? And as you guys all probably know, the challenge is, for the most part, the other players dying early, right? I've even had 2 people die at this phase, which I think is why, how did you get here, right? How did you unlock insane if you're dying here? But use your consumables. A lot of this is going to be Battleship, playstyle advice, because I was seeing, I just needed more Battleships out there, right? So it's nice to have 2 Battleships, if you can, I think would be the best setup. 2 Battleships, a cruiser, and 2 destroyers, I think, because with the Battleships, and yeah, these cruisers are tough to get big Citadel hits on them. I think the Citadel is probably below the water, right? But if you shoot them through the face, you shoot them through the nose, you can get good chunk damage out of them that way, right? So aim, with their broadside, I think you gotta aim real low, right? Because the Citadel's probably below the water. Otherwise, you get all over pens. You'll see that happening a lot. But if you get a good face or butt shot, right, you could do quite a bit more damage. But anyway, with the consumables for the Battleship, I think what you want to try and do is, hope that you get another Battleship in the game with you, and then just ping pong off on the consumables, right? So if they're using their shield, because it gives everyone else on the team a shield as well during that duration, right? So if they're using their shield, hold off on using yours if you can, right? Because that is also how you heal yourself in this ship, is while that shield is up, you're getting some healing effect as well. So you have to keep that in mind. And then when these blessings come up, don't use them. Push the, your boxes button, your select button, right, to hide it, and hold on to them, because that's really important, and you're going to see why when we get later towards the end here, right? So this is the strategy that thus far has gotten me the closest, right? But yeah, so, try and ping pong your shield off of what the other Battleship is doing. And of course here, it's just me, so I'm using it kind of when I need to. But this is, as a Battleship, you're a lot of support for the rest of your team. So you have to keep an eye on your terrible teammates, right? And trigger that shield for them when you think they might need it, and or be alternating with hopefully another Battleship, right? And then same with the shockwave consumable or whatever it's called, right? The EMP or whatever it seems like, because if you see torpedoes and stuff, a lot of torpedoes out in the water out there, sometimes it's super helpful to trigger that before, as you see those torpedoes, because they're either going after the prisoner ship that you're supposed to be protecting, or they're going after one of your allies, and to just delete those torpedoes off the map, right? That consumable gets rid of, basically disables everyone, all the enemy ships, and destroys any torpedoes that are in the water within 7.5 kilometers or something, I think. So, but yeah, with the Battleship strategy here, what I typically do is I get myself pushed forward as these waves spawn, and then as they are approaching, I'm moving back, whether it be I turned around or I'm just backing up. This ship, the maneuverability of this thing is rough, right? This is a struggle bus. Getting going, stopping, and getting going backwards are rough, and then the turning circle is just absolutely terrible. So something to keep in mind. The rudder shift is okay, but it's the angle that the rudder go. You're right. It just can't turn fast, right? So so we'll use our shield here because we are low on health. And this is what you want to do, right? You don't want to use those blessing consumables that come up. You want to hold on to those, and you're gonna see why, because it's just that's what's gonna wreck the boss and stuff when you get later into the event or the round or whatever you want to call it, right? And then I try and position myself. These secondaries have a range of 6 kilometers. And they fire a lot, right? So I try and get myself within that 6 kilometer range and let secondaries, start doing their work, and then try and position yourself. It'd be nice if I was a little bit further up, but I'm being a little more conservative just because I don't have a second battleship. I'm low on health, right? Like, so, I'm using my consumables, and I'm going to be out of them here soon, right? So, like, we're going to be in a little bit of a sketchy situation, right? Hopefully we don't get more torpedoes from this ravenous ghoul. He looks so ravenous, right? But yeah, so get rid of him. That's super, super huge for us because he probably could have torped us to death. And then, my remaining teammates are doing decent. They're surviving, which is, step one in this. Like, if you're dying, especially early on, like if you're dying before, what happens towards the end here is this boss makes a loop towards the prisoner ship, right? And if you're dying before that happens, you're doing stuff wrong, okay? So I'm gonna still hold on to even this second blessing that we're getting here, and I'm just keeping an eye on where the boss is, right? So my teammates managed to clear out this wave, and then another third wave is coming here. I'm using my shield just because I simply need the healing effect from it to try and build that back up. But yeah, this is where I'm using the shield where, and my teammates probably don't really need it right at this moment, right? So it's just, but I need it for me. So it's when it's nice to have 2 battleships that can sort of ping pong off these things, right? So see how many torpedoes these guys are using? So I'm going to use both my consumables that are offensive, and both of them happen to be reload speed. And just look at how nuts, we can go with the main guns here. This is, better than some cruisers, right? And so this is how you're gonna wreck this boss. And if everybody does this, right, if everybody, all 5 players do this, where they, especially for torpedoes, for the destroyers, if you've got this much better reload on your torps, you're sending torpedoes just insanely quick, right? You're sending them. This guy's health pool is massive, right? It's gotta be a million plus, something. Because, I've had some games, especially on destroyers, where I'm over 1 million in damage done, right? So, but yeah, so we've got these 2 consumables running, and we still have some time left over after we're going to get this kill here. The problem with this phase is once you kill this guy, then once you kill the boss, then the prisoner ship just starts sailing towards enemies, right? So then you're stuck trying really, really hard to defend him, and he's just terrible, right? So instantly I'm like, all right, we're gonna go and start. I'm gonna use this third one here to get us even more reload, I think. So we get 9 seconds of just 1 second reload on my battleship, not even, right? And then as these other ones dissipate, we're not gonna be able to reload as fast, right? But yeah, so we get overwhelmed by this last wave, and reality is we're close, right? We just need to survive for 2 minutes. Right, so you've got to think that you got to plan ahead for okay, once you kill that boss, what's your strategy for defending the prisoner ship for those 2 minutes, right? So that's what you got to keep in mind, right? So I'll go through the build here of how I set up the battleship, and then I'll probably I don't know, you gotta kind of think similarly for the cruiser and destroyer too. I think with the cruiser, what you want to do is use the healing round consumable, or the one that heals you as you get hits, because you need to be able to heal yourself somehow, and then use the offensive blessings at the end to try and do those huge chunks of damage, right? And then same for the destroyer, you're gonna want all in reload and stuff. But so battleship gun traverse speed I don't think is important here. You really which way the enemies are coming from, so you want you just need to plan ahead, right? So I'm using the more HP here. Speed and rudder shift aren't really an issue. It's the turning circle that's terrible. So yeah, So I picked health there. Third time's the charm. This gives you the 60% faster reload every third shot. I guess that's how that works. And so, yeah, like that's just, that to me, that's big versus only 15% more damage. Right? Like, so like I'm using reload. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments, right? If you think that's the right call here, or like how to build this out. But that's what I'm doing. Incoming damage, I don't think is important, right? Hopefully get another battleship and you can ping pong each other's shields and heals and, you know, and EMPs, right? Ramming damage taken, I don't use that. I tried it at first and I tried ramming the boss and it doesn't work. So yeah. And then same here, like shield. I think this bottom row, I think you could pick what, you know, all of these are good. I went with the one that does, you know, basically doubles your secondary battery shell damage, just because people are in close quarters, right, for a lot of this activity, and so those secondaries are going off quite a bit. So, like I said, it's 6 kilometer range. Like once they get it within that range, and I'm intentionally putting myself within that range between me and the, you know, the prisoner ship to try and guard it. And then of course, yeah, this legendary perk is, you know, that's the only one you could pick. But that's my like sort of strategy. I'll try and get some wins out there with all the you know, the randos and potatoes that are doing a terrible job. Right? I'm sure that's your struggle as well. I might do a live stream with this where we you know, try and plow through some insane wins. And so, you know, where we could probably potentially division up with you know, whoever's watching. If you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments. Just because, yeah, like it's the challenge, the struggle's real, right? It's mostly the other players just dying off too early and stuff like that. So, but yeah, make sure you guys are following the channel, and you know, push the, you know, like and subscribe button, all that other BS, right? We'll see you next time.